ShinRobjira.
Today we're going to be talking about the Hammond collection, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom Concavenator, aka... Yikes. Right up front, paint and detail is going to be magnificent. Yet again, the Hammond collection absolutely has my number with these metallic paint applications. I really love this. And what I like even more is this little part of his head over here is going to have that darker paint before it fully transitions into this brighter orange. Lovely attention to detail there, Mattel. And this orange, this streak of random orange, is going to stop about midway into his torso and is then going to pick right back up on his half spine thing. And as we move into his ass, we're going to see a fadey brown orange moving into his tail, where we get another half fast lump thingy, and then eventually we just get all of this bright traffic cone orange for the rest of the tail. I love this little paint detail on the tail. The orange and the greens colliding, making a brown. That's one of the things I just love about the Concavenator. I first became aware of Concavenator over here through Path of the Titans. Once this guy was put in the game, or I just found him, I was instantaneously in love with his design and his speed, because you gotta do a lot of running in that game. But anyway, the most important part about this mud butt going on over here is that it doesn't mask any of the details. Everything is going to be loud and very much in charge. Speaking of which, I really like this scaly mesh detail on his half spine over here. It doesn't really carry over to his tail half spine over here, but the detail on this thing is quite amazing. Love that this guy's got some raised spikes on his sides and on the top of his back over here, and I love that it's on the back of his head and neck as well. Seriously, this guy is just dressed to impress. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about the skin because we've all seen it before, you've all heard it before, but I gotta give the Hammond collection and Mattel credit. Love the musculatures on the legs over here. He's a fast boy, so he's gonna need some good muscles for good measure. And again, just all of the detail present right here, right now is fantastic. We're gonna get a little bit of the same that we got with Barry on Concavie over here. Shiny plastic for the membrane, shiny plastic for the tongue, detail on the roof of the mouth, and some at the back of the throat. The teeth are painted decently, not the greatest, but that seems to be a Hammond collection, not issue, just weakness. And then we've got some fantastic detail on the tops of his hands over here, and some nice paint work on his claws. Same could be said for the Concavenator feet over here. Look at that. And then, looking at his underbelly, I really like how Mattel handled this. It's like buying a designer beat-up shirt when you could just go home and beat up your own shirts. Okay, maybe not quite like that, but still, I really like how this is very patchy looking. I don't know, it makes the toy feel a lot less like a toy. It's a bit of an oxymoron there. Pardon L butt shot over here, but I like how it carries over right up to his ass. Meanwhile, where this ends, the brown is going to take over the underside of the tail until it turns entirely orange. Now, as far as paint flubs go, the only thing I could really find was the pupil on this eye isn't very centered at all. It's actually not as bad as I originally thought it was, as the other side is pretty damn close to that as well. And plus, when you look at him from the front, you could barely even see his eyes. Just the most adorable little nostrils in the world. I can't help it. I want a Concavenator as a pet. It would definitely overpower me and eat me, but these things are just adorable. I don't know what it is. And I guess the only other thing I could talk about really in terms of paint are the unpainted Duke claws back here, and yeah, that's really it, man. I've talked about this essential build a couple of times before, so there really isn't going to be any major hidden properties here, but everything I'm seeing, I'm really loving. The hype is catching up to me, and I am going to award Concavie over here 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detail. What little flubs there are. I don't have a problem with them. They don't detract from the overall awesomeness of this figure. And yeah, I do have a bit of a Concavenator bias, but at the end of the day, bias or not, if you don't already have this figure, you should be picking this up, especially if you're a fellow Concavenator stan like me. And now Articulation. Like others, Concavenator can open at the mouth about that far, but I haven't watched any reviews on this guy yet, so I don't know if anybody mentioned this, but you can go up a click at the upper part of his jaw as well. Get a bit of a wider gall. At the head over here, we're gonna get a ball joint, which will aid in him looking down decently enough, but more so up quite a bit. We're gonna get the same thing at the base of the neck over here, looking down about that far, which with the aid of this is a little bit better, but it's all about looking up, just like that, and say it with me, kids. He looks like he's asking God to kill Peter Parker.
I want you to kill Peter Parker.
That joke will die one day, I assure you. At the biceps over here, we can rotate all the way around like so. The arms will be able to move out about that far, quite very far, holy hell. And then back in about that far. We'll get a bend at the elbow as well as a swivel and a bend out. And as you just saw, this guy has a wrist hinge, which I wasn't expecting at all. Barry and I believe Ceratosaurus didn't have this. And he will be able to swivel at the wrist as well. Yeah, I love the hands on this thing. They're so very expressive and you can get them into some nice thinking, inquisitive poses. I guess now you can call him the Concavenator. Look, he's doing that think meme thing. Moving into the legs, specifically the thighs over here, you can indeed make a full rotation over here. The thighs can also move in and out for a nice spread leg pose. Lovely bend at the knee. Lovely bend at the ankle, both forward and back. You can go pretty high up with these toes and pretty far down. There will be a swivel present over here, which will act as a bit of a pivot as well. Just look at that God stance. And then finally the tail. You can go up about that far, down about that far. You can move side to side. I mean, it's practically a ball joint. Just look at that. And of course, bendy wire. Not a bad bendy wire either. Get a nice deep curve on that shit. Just look at this fighting stance. Man should be in Dead or Alive.
Nisa.
And that's pretty much it for articulation. A little bit of the same, sure, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. A solid star in terms of articulation. Try as you might, Hammond Collection. I don't know if anybody's beating Concavenator this year. Or last year, whenever he was technically released, I don't know. And now we can move on over into size comparisons. Yeah, Cave and Stasum over here is probably my new favorite middle-sized carnivore from the Hammond Collection. I love Ceratosaurus and I love Barry, but this guy just takes the cake. Sure, it's some Concavenator bias, yes, but I love the colors, I love the detail, I love his super expressive hands. This is just an all-around top-tier plus bias release for me. And I really don't know what it would take to dethrone this guy in terms of medium-sized figures, but seeing that list of upcoming releases from the Hammond Collection this year, oh boy, it's going to be a hard one. My love for the Hammond Collection continues on through this release, and wouldn't you know it, it continues on through the next video I'm going to be posting up after this. Yes, I absolutely love Concavenator. Design, figure, whole 9 yards. But ShinRobjira over here, or Bergie, I'm just gonna call it Bergie. I don't know how to even put into words how much of a surprise this figure was, and I can't wait to talk about it. So I'll see you all then and there. I do so hope you all enjoyed. If you did, check out my social media and my Patreon, where I'm getting to it, I promise. And hey, yo, after these dinosaurs, I can finally talk about these dinosaurs. They're dead, but you know, it still works. Merry weekend to you all. Peace. You'll get your rent when you fix this damn door!